Valentino is a scholar and contemporary art curator, specializing in the analysis of the relationship of artists with new technologies and media at the School of Digital Arts, or SODA, at MMU. He's the curator of SODA's gallery, Modal, which this year hosted 2 exhibitions under the banner Slipstream Slip, Resistance and Velocity in Game Engine Culture, and featured works by the likes of Hito Steil, Joseph Delap, and Joshua Citarella. Valentino is also the director of the art section of the Maker Fair, the European edition, and art consultant at Paris Sony CS Lab. He founded as the artistic director of the Rome Media Art Festival as well. So I'll hand over to you, Valentino.
Yeah, thank you.
What you have to say.
So thank you. Oh, sorry, just push something. Anyway, thank you for inviting me. Actually, I thought it was a conversation between us. So, but I'm happy to talk with you for a while. And yeah, I'm here. Let's say I'm a representative of the curatorial part of the relationship between art and game, video game art, whatever, you know. And I'm the curator of the Modal Gallery and the curator at SODA. And I would like to show you what we are doing there, and which is the building, you know, next to the pub we were before, you know, I mean, the big building, you know, like the building is embracing the pub, you know, it's like, and I think that is a very British attitude as far as I understood. But anyway, and we've just so let me explain you. Let me start from SODA. You know, SODA is this big investment. You know, started from a £35 million received by the Manchester Metropolitan University for a new School of Digital Art and a new art center. Let's say, you know, so it's very peculiar because it's a kind of new idea of making a school, because there is the school, of course, but there is also exhibition spaces, which are the facade of the building, the gallery, and the let me show you something, and sorry, the facade, the gallery, the big screen above after the entrance. You've seen it, but you know, just to have another, and the auditorium, the cinema theater as well. But the most interesting thing is the fact that the whole building is full of studios. So there are, as it is a practice-based school, so there are, you know, mocap studios, motion capture studios. There are video making studios. There are an entire floor dedicated to sound and sound production. So when I got the position, when I was in the beginning was just the curator of the gallery, but then, you know, when I saw the building, I understood that it wasn't only the gallery, but it was something more, because, you know, it could have been developed, you know, project into the whole building, creating a new ecosystem. So not only the exhibition spaces, the gallery, the facade, etc., but also creating, you know, bringing artists, you know, into the studios. You know, artists have the possibility to work with our tech specialists, with our studios, with our technologists, with our students, with our PhD students as well, and staff as well. So it's creating, it's like an incubator, you know, like once your idea is in, you know, it's gonna be, you know, developed. And in this way, we have created, you know, a kind of new ecosystem again. And so for this, I started to think of what are the main topics today, you know? So how can we address, how can we create something that is, it can go directly into the society, you know, and addressing something very contemporary. And the first topics that we have developed, it has been the concept of game engine. So this is why I'm here as well. Game engine, you know probably better than me that what game engine is. But what we have done is addressing the topics from a cultural and an artistic perspective, you know, with the idea that today it is not only about the concept of game engine, but it is about the concept of game engine culture. And especially during the pandemic, we have switched from a game engine software to a proper game engine culture. And this was the beginning of our let's say, understanding of the concept, you know. But what does it mean? It means that, you know, when artists started to work with software, like you probably know this Cory Arcangel work, which is very famous. It was presented for the first time in 2002 at the Whitney Biennale, and Cory Arcangel got Cory is a very important artist, and he got, you know, a Super Mario Bros. Canceling the idea of, you know, progression into video games. You know, the idea of that you have to progress, develop, and you know, cope some you know, problems, you know, and going on. You know, it wasn't like they would just, you know, always this kind of clouds going on and on and on. So overtaking the idea of video game, basically, you know. We are in 2002, so so canceling the first idea of video game, which is, you know, like overtaking some bosses, some you know, problem, whatever, you know. And so at that time, when Arcangel made his work, you know, it was a formal experimentation with video game, you know. And before, in the 90s, you know, artists like Mitos Manetas again made also some former idea of a virtual world, you know, like this one. This is a virtual world created by Mitos Manetas in 1996, which is exactly the anticipating, you know, the metaverse, you know, which is another was created on the Chelsea platform, and you could, you know, create your own character and, you know, going through a virtual world, you know. So at that time was there were, you know, an era in which software were created to game engine software were created to create video game, and the video game was something peculiar, something unique. It was a game again, you know. But step by step, the game engine culture started to take over, you know, into society, started to, you know, became more and more, you know, present. And especially during the pandemic, what we have seen is like an explosion of the digital culture. If you want, you know, the lockdown pandemic has been a big, you know, digital level. You know, there are some processes that weren't developed and has been suddenly, you know, speeded up and, you know, creating an incredible big development, you know. And we started from this idea. So the idea of creating a new reflection on the concept of game engine, you know. So switching from game engine as a software to game engine as a culture. And in fact, now the show is traveling through to now is at Fondazione Modern Arti Visive, but it's going in Korea and probably in other places. So today, the idea, we started from the idea that today the game engine is not a software only anymore, but it's a public culture. What I mean is that, you know, every time today, every access to information today is driven by a game engine process. When you open Instagram, you're using a game engine process. You know, when you see something online, you know, it probably created also for a game engine process. You know, when you point at something with your mobile, you know, the automatically the mobile is readapting the image through game engine processes. No, so game engine today is let's say is a proper culture. So it's the way in which we look at information, we access information, and it led our economies as well. So the idea of switching from a game engine as a software to a game engine as a proper culture. So from this idea, we started to investigate the artist that is working on this switch, and we split the exhibition in two parts. So the first part was more touching different topics like Alexandra Daisy Ginsburg, the wilding of Mars. So she created a potential how the life will develop on Mars if the plants start to born on Mars. And this was created. She worked with some biologists, and it was created through a gaming process, basically. Or Oria Harvey, that she has been working for a long time on game with gaming, and she also created some games, some video games, and this was through and we created this sculpture was created on with a 3D model, and it was also possible to recreate it a path into the gallery and outside the gallery through augmented reality. Cecil Bill Evans, she is a pretty important artist, and she works on the political implication of artificial intelligence and artificial being and gaming. Jago Stenson, he works on the idea of creating new ecosystem, like this, starting from this world, from the, of course, again, working with biologists, geologists, and creating this kind of new ecosystem in which the human being disappear basically, and in which every single element has an entanglement word as well. And or Jenna Sutela, recreating not new kind of languages. And Joshua Citarella, who is working on the political implication of image, what is behind the way in which we look at the images. So Juan Cortez is instead a Colombian artist, is a young artist, and is working on the relationship between nature and technology. And so the second part of Lu Yang as well there. I was forgetting. Anyway, Lu Yang, she's a Chinese artist, and we and Rachel McLean, we show Doko, who was like a techno dance, video game techno dance. The second part of Slipstream Sleep, Resistance and Velocity in Game Engine Culture was connecting, a bit of history of game engine with, contemporary artists, and especially with a specific addressing on the politics of game engine. It's not a chance that we have shown Dara Birbaum. Dara, she's a video artist. She has never worked with gaming, but she has always worked with, phone footage, television image. I mean, phone footage is not the right word, but like say a sort of collage. But starting, she was one of the first to start a reflection of political of image, And in fact, now we have just done an exhibition at Prada Foundation in Milan, and we opened a solo show of Dara Birbaum, and we opened a solo show of Dara Birbaum at Prada Foundation in Tokyo, and the show will come to Manchester next year. So a collaboration between Soda and Prada Foundation as well. And so she inspired many video game engine artists, let's say, so like the big mother, if you want, And she in fact she inspired artists like Trevor Paglen and Ito Steyer as well. And so we have also included, other pioneer like Joe Delap. He's a pioneer in video game art, and he has made many machinima projects in the 90s. And she's based in Dundee now. He's based in Dundee, sorry. And Mishka Enner on artificial intelligence. Pierre Wig again on the idea of, humans, animals, the relation with animals and humans. Trevor Paglen, Payola on nature, and DI is an USA-based, New York-based collective that works on collecting, especially on politics, post-internet, etc., etc. So what I want to say is that we have tried with this exhibition to explore, the idea of a proper game engine culture. And in fact, you don't find here only video game artists, but that they have expand this concept as a totalizing concept. I mean, cut me when I need to stop. And which is different from many other exhibitions, there are many exhibitions are still very beautiful exhibitions, still stuck on the idea of video game art. I think that we have probably overtaken the concept of video game art together, and we are we should start a new reflection on the concept of game engine from the cultural perspective. And just to finish, we have another exhibition we have opened on investigating the pioneer of game engine, Rebecca Allen. Rebecca, she started work with game engine in 1997, more or less, and in the 80s she's made very big project with Kraftwerk, with Namjoon Pike, and she made virtual reality project like in 2000. So, I mean, she's a real pioneer. And so the idea also is start to investigate also the history, because the art and technology field as an history, even if today is an hype to talk about digital art, whatever, it's every time, every interview, it's always, oh, we are an expert of digital, or what about NFT? It's like say, man, don't want to talk about NFT, or, yeah, you are an expert of these new things. Yeah, actually, they're not so, much new, because there is a very big history. So it's also important to start to investigate the history, not only from net art and 90s on, but there are some artists that, work like, William Ledham, that started to create immersive environment in the 80s, and to investigate the history might help us to reinterpret the present, in a different way. So this is also one of our aim. Unfortunately, we were supposed to open the Accessibility 11 show in July, and then but it has been pushed back in next year in February probably. It's not as important because, as you know, Manchester is a pretty desert in July and over. So it's better to push back the exhibition. But also Cecile, she's been working on this topic since long time. And what we would like to do, and I'm glad that you invited us, is also to create trying to understand the topic also from a theoretical perspective, because not only from a curatorial perspective, so doing more talks, conference, and workshop, and and the idea of inviting artists to work at Soda in our studio is also an idea to creating more dynamism, like Cecile, for instance, she will be working in Soda. She will be here working with Soda in our studios, but also with KW Berlin, we are now working on another project on game engine. It's going to be in September, I guess, but also with Serpentine Gallery, we are now in collaboration for working with artists. So once the artists are here, it would be also interesting to exploit them, let's say, in different. So thank you for inviting me, and finish.